All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here with another exciting installment of As the Journey Turns, brought to you in part by Calgon. Calgon, take me away. Also, all of you out there who are still here, because I do this because I love to do it. And I try to do it in real time for the few people that are out here, just like you and me. So Dean Castronovo and Jonathan Cain. I didn't see the Jonathan Cain post or defense of Arnel, but someone told me that he also said Arnel's not going anywhere. And what did I say at the end of the video I did yesterday about this? This band, the last 2 or 3 years, maybe 4 or 5 years now, I'm not sure. You can go back to 2017. And it looks like it's all over. It's done. They can't continue. And lo and behold, what do? They book more shows. Holy crap, Batman. They continue. They persevere. Everyone's asking me, so when are they going to quit? I'm like, who says they're going to quit? They could quit, but when's Arnel going to stop? Well, his bandmates have come to his defense. Dean Castronovo really coming hard at all the clickbait blogs out there. My clickbait blog, I don't know. Dean, brother, Dean and I have a good relationship, so I'm hoping that he understands that this is what I do. I listened to the show, right? I watched me and another patron, we're almost watching it simultaneously. We're typing back and forth going, holy crap, did you hear that? We're just like, no. I mean, okay, so there are a couple of theories. Number one, he had a bad night, right? Or he's been having not so great nights, but this was much worse than what anyone was expecting. And he admitted that he was aware of his problem that night. Now, in one of the videos I did, and it might have been the last one, here's my big problem, guys. Everybody, John, Neil, Dean, this is my big problem. When you see a man drowning, what do? You throw him a life preserver, right? You say, brother, someone put your arm around the guy and say, this is not your night, brother. This is not your night. Jason can sing. Dean can sing. John can sing, right? Neil, he's okay. Neil can sing some background. He had a couple of lead vocals. You have to dig around to find what Neil did as a lead singer. Lies. He could sing Lies, that solo track he did with Jan Hammer. Yeah, something. I mean, I don't think they could adapt on the fly, but they were only doing a 60-minute set, right? It was 60 minutes. So someone has to make an executive decision. So there is no chemistry. There is no leadership because everybody's walking on eggshells in this band. So what should have happened was John, who doesn't communicate with Neil, walks over, would have created a lot of nice drama, right? Maybe say, hey, come over here. Team meeting, huddle. Okay, Arnel, dude, what's going on, brother? And then, if there was this sabotage thing, which is now Dean didn't say this was sabotage, by the way. He talked about biology and the human voice, and which is probably closer to the truth, right? So he was either having a bad night or he's reached a point where he's not able to do this. And by the way, I agree with everything Dean said. 17 years. He says a handful of times where maybe things didn't go all that well. And yeah, they've beat this horse. Jonathan Cain in his book compared Steve Perry to a thoroughbred racehorse. Said, maybe we were a little bit too hard on that horse. Maybe we ran that horse too hard. Of course. Sorry. A horse is a horse. I'm sorry for that. So anyway, I've lost my train of thought because of the whole Mr. Ed thing that is now playing in my head. So let me go back to the original point that I was trying to make before I started to go off on multiple tangents. So if you see a man drowning, what do? You throw him a life preserver. You don't let him continue to drown. And the performance wasn't getting any better. It's not like he had one song that was off. This just kept going. And I was shocked that they let him. This is about chemistry. This is about who's gonna step up and do something bold and be a leader. I think people would have been totally okay if they had said, you know, Arnel was sick, right? And I'm sure other bands have had singers completely fail. It's not like I'm wanting them to lie to you, but I'm pretty sure that Journey isn't the most truthful band when it comes to what's actually going on with the band. Can we all agree that they're not the most truthful band? So halfway through the show, after I don't know how many songs, Huddle, Jason, do you think you could sing these songs? Yeah. Dean, tonight, brother, we got to get through this. I've heard Dean sing Don't Stop Believing a couple of times, at least. He does a phenomenal job. He did amazing on Lights. This is why there's no sabotage, okay? The sabotage thing, then why didn't they sabotage Dean when he sang Lights? He sounded fantastic. Look, I can forgive and forget that Arnel had a bad night. You could have handled this so much better. You could have just told everybody, look, he's not feeling well. Something's wrong with his throat tonight. Pollen, allergies, I don't know. Just say he's not able to do this like he normally does it, and just try to piece together a set where Jason takes a turn. Maybe have John sing a song. I don't know. It'd be interesting. And then Dean can probably handle the rest of it. I mean, you weren't doing a 2-hour show. I mean, really, after half of it, all you needed to do was maybe fill 30 minutes. I mean, they could have let Neil go off on a guitar tangent for 10 minutes, right? Do an extended version of one of the old, do Hopelessly in Love. I haven't heard that in a while. I don't know if they even still perform that. I think it probably was in their set list at one point. The Party's Over. And then, which reminds me of all the people that are sending me messages. So, think Steve's coming back now? So Steve's not coming back. Steve's at home counting how much money he made last month from these guys being out on tour. That's what Steve Perry is doing. All right. And if it's true that he had a bad night and they're staying with him, right? And they have to put out that front too. They're not going to throw the guy under the bus after what he's done for them for 17 years. There's no way. Plus, Dean mentions that he's easy to work with. He's humble. He's nice. These are all things. Now, you could say something like he's easy to control, which would be way to the extreme of what's being said here. But he'll do whatever they want him to do, which is, you know, the perfect employee. He'll conform to what the boss says to conform to. The problem is there's no leadership and there's no boss in this outfit. You've got one guy being accused of spending all the money. The other guy makes the accusations, then he kind of backs away from them, and then he says, well, what we need is an overseer. We've got the overseer. What happened to all that money? Do you not care that all that money went out the window? Are you going to try to recoup the money? I guess you can't, right? So you stop this from happening going forward. I guess that's your only strategy. And this because you've got Neil being the original guy in the band, and he carries that with him, and he wears it like a badge of honor. And to some degree, he should, but when it comes to these issues, he just throws it out there. I hired Arnel, so shut up. All right, well, shut up. Let's see what happens next time. You know, if here's a couple other things. Now, they could fix this in other ways next time, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. There was a period of time. Now, we heard all the reasons, and then I was told by somebody who's very close to Journey and very connected with Journey, or used to be anyway, who told me, nah, there's no AI. They're not using any AI. Arnel had some issues the first time I saw him. Second time I saw him, he was phenomenal. Like he was a different singer, literally a different singer, hitting every high note. Was his voice just in good shape that night? See, and we don't know. We don't know any of this stuff. We just speculate because that's what, clickbait bloggers do. They speculate. I mean, we're all allowed to speculate. Look, I've been invested in this band, t-shirts, albums, CDs, cassettes, okay, since I was 15 years old. I'm an investor. I put out quite a bit of money. I even bought their last album, okay? That's how invested I am. I bought Freedom on CD, in fact. I bought the Journey Through Time CD. I was the one that said, do a DVD, record it. It's going to be a historic event. And it was. All right. But there are some Journey fans at this point who would like to see these guys get along as human beings and then just be honest. And if one of your bandmates is drowning, throw him a life preserver. Don't let him continue to drown. That was my bigger issue with what happened out there. Oh my gosh, he's having a rough night. I mean, other bands, I've seen this where the singer has to stop and they probably have to cancel. But you've got two vocal ringers out there between Jason and Dean and John, who can sing to some degree. You could say, you know what? Give Arnel a standing ovation. He's been doing this for 17 years. We love him. He's our lead singer. But tonight is not his night here in Chile, right? And then just try to finish the show. It would have been interesting to see Journey actually pull together as a group, an actual group who are trying to, make the best out of the situation to show a little teamwork. There's no teamwork out there. Jonathan Cain looked miserable the entire night. Neil is in his own little guitar world enclosed by whatever. He's doing what he needs to do, but it's all about Neil. And the other guys, the enthusiasm in this band right now comes mostly from the rhythm section and a little bit from Jason Derlotka, right? So it's Dean and Todd Jensen playing bass. They're pretty animated out there. The other guys, and Arnel, obviously animated, but, just having a rough night out there. So advice, hey, yeah, give him a rest. Let's see how he does the next show. Apparently the band's never going to break up. No matter what happens, they're never going to break up. They're just going to keep going. They're not going to hire anybody different. There's no search for a vocalist happening. Nothing to that extent. I mean, look at it this way. If they could survive the whole accusation of Neil being this big spender and John making those accusations and then Neil agreeing that they need an overseer, but then still saying it's slander. If they can survive all that stuff, you're spending money. That's slander. Stop it. Are you spending money or aren't you spending money? What's it to you? That's this whole thing is a train wreck. And it's sad because this is maybe the greatest American band other than maybe the Eagles or Chicago. You look at who's in that, Beach Boys. Journey, though, for longevity, and Forbes magazine saying Don't Stop Believin' is the biggest song of all time, probably financially speaking, but also maybe most recognizable these days, which that was never intended. If you go back and listen to the Escape album, it was Open Arms, Stone in Love. Those were really the focal points when that album came out. And DSP was a big deal, but it wasn't the top of the big deal. It's interesting what happened over the years, and they deserve all the credit. And don't forget about Steve Perry. Don't forget. Is Steve coming back? No, Steve's at home. Steve's relaxing. Maybe he's going to put out a solo album. With all this drama going on in Journey, typically this is when Steve tends to sneak in and do something to kind of pull some of that audience over to him. And those people are getting frustrated. They're like, yeah, I long for the days when Steve Perry was in this band, and the Escape tour, the Frontiers tour, even Raised on Radio was a really good tour. But the bottom line here, folks, is like I said throughout this entire blog, this clickbait blog that I'm doing, they should have thrown him a life preserver. That's all. That's all. And if you had a team and you had people who enjoyed each other's company and they were fighting for one another out there, kind of like they're in a battle, they're in a war. A concert is kind of like a war. You've got to present all this music and do it flawlessly every night. And if you fail over here, over there, some people notice. A lot of these people may not even care or notice, but there are a few people who've, been following this band and maybe not willing to spend a lot of money to go see them again. I don't know. It seems like Neil says that's why we keep selling out shows. Journey's not good anymore. Yep, that's why we keep selling out shows. They do. They keep selling out shows. Anyone who says they need Steve Perry back in the band, Neil's going to say, well, we're selling out stadiums, so shut up. And does he have a point? Kind of. Yes. Unfortunately, yes. That's the bottom line. So anyway, folks, all that basically to say, next time, guys, put your arm around Arnel and say, you know what? You're having a rough night. Let's not make this front page news in a few days. Let's just say, look, you had a sore throat. You were under the weather. I mean, that would have been so easy. That would have been so easy. And everyone would have bought it. Some people would have said, well, he can't handle the catalog. Maybe he can't. But the bottom line is he's done it, like they say, for 17 years. And for the most part, he's done a very good job. But I've noticed, again, this goes back to like 2017 or so, 2018, things started to change. And it was up, it was down. People are telling me he needs a vocal coach. I think he's had a vocal coach already. Pretty sure he's gone through that whole program. He needs rest, and he needs some kind of an evaluation to see, hey, can you do this, night after night? Now, they're going to have a whole bunch of time off, I think, before they head to Japan. So we'll see how things shake out. I don't know if we're going to get a lot of video. I'm sure some Journey junkies are going to Japan as well, just because that's what they do. And I'm sure we'll get some footage from the cell phones. Keep in mind, cell phones aren't that great, and they won't pick up what it really sounds like. But I'll tell you what, that performance in Chile, that was good sound quality. As far as, I'm not saying the show was good sound quality. I'm just saying the presentation, right? It was pretty high end. You could kind of hear everything. And maybe that was the problem. Maybe we shouldn't get those kinds of videos when Journey is involved. But throw them a life preserver, guys. Don't yell at people who are disappointed. We're all investors out here. We've paid the money. We've seen this band. We root for the team. Okay, we're all rooting for the team. How about you guys become a team again? Get out there and play and have chemistry and forge relationships with one another. Talk to one another. Is that possible? I don't know. I kind of don't think these people really like one another, but that's just me. Everybody likes Arnel, though. And that's why everyone came to his defense, because they know he's a nice person, which makes this difficult. If he wasn't a nice person, then they could just kick him to the curb and just throw him under the bus and say, yeah, he's causing problems, but he's this very nice person. So anyway, I covered a lot of angles in this video, and I hope people understand that I don't dislike Arnel Pineda. Arnel Pineda, carried this band on his shoulders for many years, and the longest tenured lead singer of Journey, and that's a pretty huge accomplishment. But 17 years singing the Steve Perry catalog, all of which was done when Steve Perry was in his 20s and 30s, I think. Yikes. Yeah. Who wants to do that? You've got to have really good genes to accomplish that every night. And for the most part, he's done it. But there's no question that this performance wasn't what a lot of people expected. And again, if you haven't seen it, the link, I'm not going to put the link in these anymore. You can find it in one of the earlier videos I did. I'm not going to, promote how bad this was anymore. I understand. We probably all need to just move on and hope that this was just a one-time occurrence if you're that concerned about this. A lot of people have kind of let go of a lot of things these days. It's like, really? We've got this war in the Middle East, but we've got to worry about how Journey sounds tonight. Nope. Most people are thinking about other things. All right. I've rambled enough. God bless you all. God bless Arnel and Dean and Jason and Todd and even Neil and definitely John. I know John's on the right team. Anyway, we need to work a little harder to convince those other people who are not on the Christian team to maybe take a look, because things are really bad out there. And our only hope, folks, our only hope isn't music. It's actually Jesus Christ and maybe some good Christian music. All right. But that's the way I see it. And I hope others take a look, because there's nothing else. There's no other way.